We begin this Tuesday morning with breaking by-election news from overnight. Results from two critical races that may set the stage for the next federal election. And they're sure to shift the mood on Parliament Hill this morning. In Winnipeg, the NDP defends a party stronghold. But in Montreal, we're just in this morning, a major upset for the Liberals. The Bloc Québécois has eked out a win in what was a long-time safe Liberal riding. These are the preliminary results from La Salle et Verdun. Coming in, well, most of the country was asleep. The Bloc Québécois candidate, Louis-Philippe Sauvé, defeating Liberal Laura Palestini by just 248 votes. And this is video from the Bloc headquarters late last night before the race was called past 2 o'clock Eastern. Cameras, most of them had gone home by then. But you can see the atmosphere was jubilant even before Sauvé's lead was official. For the federal Liberals, it will be just the opposite today. This vote will be seen as a repudiation of the party and of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's leadership. So we will be watching for reaction very closely. It is the first cabinet meeting of this new parliamentary sitting, and ministers will be gathering for that later this morning in Ottawa. Now, looking at the results, the NDP, a close third in that Montreal race, but New Democrats celebrating this morning because they held on in Winnipeg against a tough Conservative campaign. And here are the results for the riding of Elmwood-Transcona. Leila Daz coming in ahead of her Conservative opponent, Colin Reynolds, by just over 1,000 votes. So that's 48.1% of the total vote. So that is the celebration last night, just past 11 o'clock local time. A tighter win than the NDP is used to in Elmwood-Transcona. NDP has held the seat in the community for most of the past 4 decades, and in the previous version of the riding as well. It was before the map was redrawn. Leila Dance is a new candidate, a first-timer. Former MP Daniel Blakey stepped down to work for the Manitoba New Democrats provincially under Premier Wab Kinew. So all of that to set up a big day of parliamentary news. We're going to dig further into the breaking by-election results, what they mean for this new political landscape. Janyce McGregor in extra early. We're happy you've given us an extra hour this morning, Janyce. So let's start. Just not too long ago, before coming on the air, the Liberal defeat in that long-time Liberal riding.
Good morning, Heather. Yeah, one of the big storylines in this town this fall is the dramatic shift in momentum for the Bloc Québécois. Because remember, while the NDP and the Liberals had their agreement, it didn't really matter how the BQ caucus voted. They didn't need them to pass anything. And now, though, things have changed. The third party in the House of Commons holds the balance of power. The Deputy House Leader for the Bloc Québécois, Christine Normandin, you saw her beside her colleague there as he celebrated his victory. She told our colleagues on the Power and Politics by-election special last night that at a time when the Federalist parties are really increasingly snarky towards each other, Quebec voters really appreciate the Bloc's singular focus on their province's interests.
I guess that the message that we've been sending in the past years really helped. The fact that we presented ourselves as the adult in the room, making concrete propositions, people feel that they are represented well. And that's also a message that we get. Please continue to fight for us. So I guess it's a message for sent to us for what we do, and as well as the way I understand it, a message sent to the actual government.
This is a similar message to what we've now seen on social media from leader Yves-François Blanchet, who was talking about this win, which he sees as historic for his party on social media. Extraordinary, really, to see this by-election victory in former Prime Minister Paul Martin's old riding. Just, frankly, as the Parti Québécois is making a comeback, may soon hold power provincially, which could build towards the prospect of another sovereignty referendum in this country. So you can add the potential for a national unity crisis to the pile of problems on the Prime Minister's plate. Justin Trudeau's summer has now been bookended by-election losses in 2 seats, first in urban Toronto, now in urban Montreal, that the Liberals previously won by wide margins. The local campaign in Montreal had tried to decouple the Liberal brand from the Prime Minister's leadership. They did not put Justin Trudeau's face on the signs like the other parties did. Senior cabinet ministers had poured into this riding to persuade voters to stick with them. They had said they felt confident. Now this 20-point tumble overnight must be stomach-churning. Jagmeet Singh and the NDP also put a lot of personal capital into trying to compete here, hoping to recapture the spirit of what happened when New Democrats won this seat in 2011. In the end, they could not match their own high hopes, but frankly, even making it into the three-way nail-biter that it became could be seen as progress for them.
And even more to celebrate in Winnipeg with this win in Elmwood-Transcona. So let's turn there and see what you're interpreting in that by-election.
Yeah, look, the margin of victory for Leela Dance here isn't nearly as comfortable as the Orange team's win in the last election, but she did manage to hold this seat, notwithstanding considerable headwinds, thanks to the Conservatives' frankly, building national momentum. The previous MP, Daniel Blakey, was asked again during our special last night if ripping up the supply and confidence agreement boosted her campaign and made the difference here.
The NDP has always been very clear that we're not buddies with the Liberals, but we wanted to be able to get them to do things. And I think everyone knew that that would only last for so long. Jagmeet made the call to leave the supply and confidence agreement. I think there's still a willingness to bargain there, and we'll see what the fall brings.
Look, a win's a win, no question. But the predominant emotion for New Democrats this morning might be more relief than outright celebration. Holding this seat is going to be just as difficult when they have to defend it again in a general election. And of course, we know that's coming, if not this time next year, then even sooner.